Today on the show, it's the third part of our History of Death series where we're going to be talking about death, the time of your life. If you didn't know that this comic is some of the best LGBT family representation in comics, then this show is for you. So Death, the Time of Your Life is an indirect sequel to Death, the High Cost of Living. It's indirect because it doesn't exactly follow the character of Death around, although she is very much present. Personally, I would say go and watch the History of Death Part 2 before you watch this part, but if you don't want to go and watch History of Death Part 2, that's fine. This still will make sense, but it will be a lot heavier than you're probably expecting. Death, the High Cost of Living definitely had the secret of happiness and love and how to appreciate everyone in your life and how to live life to the maximum even though you might only be doing the mundane. Death, the Time of Your Life has a slightly different approach, but there's still a lot to be learned from it, and it's still so important. So the comic begins with a girl sat outside of a mansion, sat under a tree in a rainstorm. And then somebody walks outside and calls her name, and the girl looks up and the scene ends there. Then we go to a girl in a hotel room who's got short blonde hair, and she wakes up in the hotel room and room service comes along, and it's revealed this girl's name is Foxglove. Now Foxglove, if you don't remember, was actually the performer in Death, the High Cost of Living. So Foxglove is having this internal talk with herself about how when you go to work, when you come home, you can just escape the business of the daytime. But you can't do that in a hotel room. It's also revealed that back at home, she has a girlfriend named Hazel. Now Hazel, if you don't remember, was also in Death, the High Cost of Living, and she was the pregnant woman. So Foxglove goes down to the lobby, meets with her manager, and the two of them go to breakfast, and they begin to talk business. By business, I mean Foxglove's PR choices and her music career. Now the manager wants Foxglove to join a band, whereas Foxglove does not want to join a band. They begin to walk and the conversation goes on to the point of Foxglove wants to come out as gay to the American public. Now keep in mind that this comic was written in the 90s and there was like no gay representation in American media in the 90s. But the manager basically says that if Foxglove were to come out to the public, that would be the end of her career. Next we go to Hazel and she's talking to someone as her kid climbs up onto a balcony and falls off of it and somehow survives. Then we go to the manager who's named Larry and he's now on a flight and we see him long enough to know that he has died on the flight. Then we see Foxglove at a TV screening and she's in her dressing room and Larry is there and Larry's all like, just listen to Hazel. Listen to Hazel. And Foxglove is like, what the hell is going on, Larry? Why can't I see you properly? And Larry's just like, I don't care, just listen to Hazel. And then he burns up. Then suddenly, out of nowhere, Fox is being told that she is on in 5 minutes. Then we go to a premiere of a movie and Foxglove is getting out of a limo and she's on the phone to Hazel and Hazel is all like, can you please just come home? Please come home now. Fox says she can't, but she'll be home in a few weeks, and then she hangs up the phone. And then we go to Hazel and a voice says to Hazel, so, are you coming? And Hazel says, I suppose I don't have a choice. And then it's revealed to be Death that's in the same room as her, and Death says, no, you really don't. Then Fox is pulled out of the movie and she is told the tragic news about Larry's death, which confuses her because she obviously saw Larry earlier in her dressing room. Then we have Hazel walking with Death and she is telling Death about how she and Fox met. Hazel and Fox actually met when Fox went by Donna. Basically, Donna had just split up with another girl and this other girl beat Donna a lot. But then this other girl died and Donna felt horribly, horribly guilty. Meanwhile, Hazel had just finished school and she moved to New York and she was working in a restaurant as a chef. Then one day, Donna walked into the restaurant and it was love at first sight. So we cut back to Fox and she's all like, right, I'm going back home to LA. And everyone that's around her is like, no, no, you have to continue to work. And then Fox is all like, no, you don't understand. I have to get back home to LA. And it turns out a woman has actually called a local newspaper and has told the newspaper about her and Foxglove's old relationship. This means the fact that Foxglove is a lesbian is going to be revealed to the entire world. So Fox is like, no, you don't understand, I really have to get home now. Then we go back to Hazel and she's talking about Foxglove's first performance. And we can actually see Dee Dee and Sexton from Death, the High Cost of Living, which is really nice because it shows that these two aren't just being forgotten. So now we're on a private jet with Fox, Boris, and a model that Foxglove actually went to the movie premiere with, and he actually got her access to the private jet. Fox is on this jet and she's having thoughts like, if something were to happen to this jet right now, I wouldn't have to worry about anything anymore, and it wouldn't be suicide, so it wouldn't be a big scandal. And I think those are thoughts that everyone has from time to time, just like, if something were to happen to me right now, I wouldn't have to worry about all of this debt anymore, or all of this work anymore, and all of my stress would be gone if something were to happen to me right now. But the main point of it is, you have to hold on because things do get better. And I think you especially have those thoughts when you're at a point in your life where your life could go in one of two directions, but there's no going back. Then we go to Fox's home and we actually discover that Boris has been Fox's parental figure for about 3 years now. Hazel is now telling Death about how when Fox became famous, Hazel took the back seat. Fox was closeted again, so Hazel did everything she could to get Fox's attention, to be her number one. Hazel became skinny, she tried reading more, she tried changing herself, she tried everything to try and get Fox's attention, but nothing worked. We go back to Fox and she's at her home and she's going through this entire house and she cannot find Hazel or her child anywhere, but she thinks she knows where they are. Going back to Hazel, it's actually revealed that Alvy, her child, died a little while ago, but she made a deal with Death to allow Alvy to live for a little while longer. Going back to Fox, she does this spell which takes her, Boris, and the model to the land of death, and Larry is there waiting for them. Larry says that he's prepared transportation that will take them to Death and Hazel. Meanwhile, back with Death and Hazel, Hazel asks, why do other people hurt when someone dies? Death basically says, that's an amazing question to ask, but it's got so many different answers, so many variants of the same answers as well, that you might as well just ask, when is purple? So Fox would turn up and the details of Alvy's death would finally be revealed in detail, and we would get to know the deal that Hazel made with Death. So when Alvy died, Hazel made a deal with Death that one day in the future, herself, Alvy, and Fox would all go to the realm of death together, but only two would leave. Hazel told Fox about this deal, but Fox just kind of blew it off because it didn't sound real. So Death says, right, you can all go home now, but one of you has to stay here. And Fox volunteers. She says that she's sick of being herself. She is sick of this life and she just wants to go. But Boris then steps in and says, no, you don't get to die here. I promised Larry that I would protect you and that's exactly what I'm going to do. And Boris goes off with Death and everyone else wakes up back in Fox's home. At the house, Boris is there dead on the floor, and it is revealed that he had a brain aneurysm. At Boris's funeral, Fox has had a thought that's stuck with me for many years now, since I read this. The whole of your life is just a spray painting on a wall that you hope someone will see after you die. That's why people have kids, to be remembered after they die. Tabloids about Fox being a lesbian came out, and because she earned so much money from the tabloids, she was able to clear all of her debt. She made it through everything. She saw death, wanted to die, had a psychotic spell, and she's still here. And after surviving through all of that, looking back on it, things weren't as bad as they seemed in the moment. And that is the overall message of this story. Just keep holding on. No matter what, keep holding on. Things can always get better. And something might seem horribly, horribly bad in a moment, but 2 years down the line, it won't seem as bad. That is a message I wish I could have shared with a few people in my life, but it's too late to share that now. This is a story without as many messages as Death, the High Cost of Living or Flex Mentallo, but it's still got a fair few in there, but you really need to find them for yourself to really appreciate them. We barely scratched the surface this time. I've put links to mycomicshop.com down below to where you can get Death, the Time of Your Life, or Death, the Deluxe Edition, which collects a whole bunch of stories about death into one. It's super effective! Okay guys, that is it for today. If you think I forgot anything about death, please let me know in the comments down below. And also don't forget to thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more history. And also don't forget to support the show by checking out my Patreon so I can make bigger and better videos and do things like the history of Jean Grey. Like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, and subscribe to my gaming channel. My name is Faust, this has been Exploring Comics, and it is super effective.